Holy to the moly, Batman! An Auditor of the Year was crowned at Auditpalooza? Who took the top spot? Who got shut out? And where do they go from here? FLOYD WALLACE returns to live streaming with a harrowing account of falling off of a motorcycle, then fleeing from Colombia to Brazil for free healthcare. Complains about women no longer being into him in the exotic country. HENDRY assures everyone that he's a big star, as police in Terra Haute, Indiana apparently knew him by name. Says the officers are all peons in comparison to his great fame. Plus, Jose Chile DeCastro's fans worry as he appears Shattner-like during his Sunday live stream, then misses important filings in one of his ongoing lawsuits. Is the diminutive YouTuber facing a health crisis? I'm your snuggly buggly baby wavy newsreader, Pants. Really, Jim, you're making me read snuggly buggly baby wavy? You're lucky to have me reading these at all, mister. I'm your humble newsreader, Pants. Will you join me in driving to Pennsylvania and kicking the rear end of some yahoo who makes me read the strangest of efforts each morning in the name of auditing insanity? There was a surprise winner of the Auditor of the Year award at the yearly Auditpalooza gathering, as Leonard Leroy Truth Filipowski took the top honors, to the surprise of everyone in the room. Filipowski was hastily brought up onto the stage of the event, and after receiving hugs from members of the New York delegation, gave a rousing speech about auditing and the challenges faced by First Amendment auditors. The YouTuber cited Martin Luther King Jr. in his comments, echoing comments the slain civil rights leader made when addressing his own movement. Filipowski said that the problem with the auditing movement was not that they were outnumbered, but that they were outorganized. He thanked the members of his tyranny response team who came together to serve as the last line of defense, assuring freedom and that tyranny does not take an impudent hold in our country. Filipowski then thanked his fans, subscribers, and fellow auditors for the honor, stating that without their support, and blamed the system for creating the need for First Amendment auditors. He praised the individual decisions by everyone in the room to stand up and create change, instead of sitting around and complaining about injustice in the world. Sean Paul Long Island Audit Reyes joined the man on stage, who was praised for being 7,000 subscribers away from 1 million YouTube subscribers. Filipowski called Reyes's influence incredible and inspirational, and promised to continue his work into the new year. Filipowski has made a name for himself over the past 2 years, using his tyranny response team to target political officials in the New York area for supposed crimes and irregularities. He has brought the group to disrupt campaign events, town hall meetings, and most recently has joined Reyes in his dispute with the mayor of Groton, Connecticut, with the group drowning out local support for those they oppose at the live meetings. The well-organized group has received some pushback from authorities, with Filipowski himself being arrested at one city council meeting earlier in the year, resulting in Reyes and others joining him in protest at the following city council meeting. As Reyes has announced that he will eventually enter the world of politics, the actions of the tyranny response team may face further scrutiny, and their behavior may be curtailed in the future. The Auditpalooza gathering was held in Florida for another year at the Larry Downs farm, with YouTuber John Felix organizing the event. Felix reportedly initiated a heavy screening process this year, with all participants having to be verified before being allowed to purchase tickets to the event. In post-event comments, Felix hailed the event as a success and thanked those who attended the event for their love and support. He thanked Patriot Larry Downs for allowing the event to be held on his property. The Auditpalooza event is expected to return in 2026. It was all fun and games for YouTuber Craig Hendry Sunday night, while he live-streamed from Terra Haute, Indiana, on a cop-watching run that he essentially guaranteed that he would expose the evils of the police in the area. Instead, Hendry came across 3 police cars parked side to side in the parking lot of an industrial building in the downtown area. He immediately was suspicious of the gathering, as the police were obviously up to no good. Getting out of his car, the YouTuber strode across the parking lot to confront the evil police with his camera. He briefly focused on the screen in one of the police vehicles, showing that the officer in that car had a data file on his screen. The YouTuber demanded to know what the officers were doing on the scene, and one of the officers responded that they were working on reports. After some minor back and forth with the officers, one of the officers drove off, leaving 2 police vehicles on the scene. Hendry disengaged, as he was apparently not getting the responses he wanted. As he was leaving, he said that one of the officers said his name. He went into a tirade that the officers knew his name because he was a somebody and a big deal in the area. He ranted that the officers were pathetic nobodies and implied that all the police in the area knew of his great fame. Now, apparently triggered, Hendry stormed back to his car, where he then drove it to the parking lot and parked with his lights directly shining on the side of the nearest police cruiser. The YouTuber promised that the action would essentially force the police officers to be flushed out, and they would presumably go about their business being evil tokens of the agents of oppression. Instead, both officers apparently drove back to the police station and into a facility where Hendry could not follow. Updating Hendry's legal issues, his pending trial in Sullivan County, Indiana, set for November 18th, has been canceled and rescheduled for March 10th, 2026. No reason was given for the cancellation, and the next pretrial conference is scheduled for December 4th. At that trial, Hendry is facing charges of refusing to leave an emergency incident area, disorderly conduct, unreasonable noise, and intimidation from an incident in late September of 2024, all misdemeanor offenses. In Greene County, Indiana, Hendry is facing 2 sets of charges that are being prosecuted together. The first set of charges has the YouTuber accused of resisting law enforcement and unlawful encroachment on an investigation from a March 10th, 2024 incident with police. The second set of charges has been reduced over time to a single charge of false information, making a false complaint against an officer. While both sets of charges are due to go to trial on December 2nd, 2025, HENDRY's filed a motion to dismiss the second set of charges that is set to be heard on October 30th. There has been no update to his ongoing appeal of charges from Vermilion County, Indiana, where he was convicted of felony stalking and misdemeanor harassment. HENDRY was convicted of the crimes last year and served his complete sentence this year. His appeal was heard in July with no ruling from the Court of Appeals as of press time. YouTuber and sex tourist FLOYD WALLACE returned to live streaming on Tuesday from Brazil, telling his audience that his nearly month-long absence from the platform was due to injuries he sustained in a motorcycle accident on October 8th in Colombia. According to Wallace, he was riding on the back of a motorcycle driven by a date when she unexpectedly leaned back, knocking him off the motorcycle as they were traveling at a high rate of speed. Instead of stopping and being remorseful about her actions, the woman laughed at Wallace as he lay on the ground in pain. Wallace said he immediately dismissed the woman and removed her from his contact list. His story gets murky from here, as somehow he didn't get medical treatment in Colombia, but according to his story, he traveled to Brazil for medical care, as healthcare is free in Brazil. Wallace said that he was treated in Brazil and that he was suffering from a fractured left rib. It's unclear if he had a single broken rib or if all the ribs on his left side were fractured, as Wallace indicated multiple things about the injury, all inconsistent. To his audience's surprise, Wallace did not fundraise off the injury. It is notable, as Tuesday was YouTube's monthly payday for creators, so Wallace should have been flush with cash from his multiple YouTube channels. Instead of fundraising, he took time to remind everyone that healthcare was free in Brazil and that he'd be okay financially with treatment from the injury. While money was not an issue, finding a sexual partner in Brazil apparently has gotten more difficult, as Wallace has aged in the past few years, and he claims Brazil has become more anti-Black American. Wallace did not dive heavily into racism for the cause of his inability to score with new women. He did say the country has changed. He longed for the time when he could find relatively easy sexual conquests in the country, though admitted that pay for play was always an option. The YouTuber said he was waiting on a friend to come over and that he was talking to her in order to be on camera and to serve as his human translator as he attempted to cold approach women in the country. Wallace said that he did not need to know Portuguese to pick up women, as his looks and his personality would get him the women he needed, with the help of an interpreter. He also announced that while he could go back to Colombia, Brazil was more likely the last stop of his tour for the next year. The YouTuber said that he was going to return to the United States and get his car out of storage, and finally deal with the DNA test that caused him to flee the country in August. He said that he hoped to get lucky with the test results. Wallace's story more than likely does not end here, though the YouTuber is finally dealing with the consequences of age and the reality of unprotected sex. He now is pushing 30 and physically showing it. He tends to only shower or change clothes when his audience gets tired of looking at him in the same outfit for a week at a time. And the women he targets, knowingly or unknowingly, are fairly young service workers. Financially, he's openly complained that he's burnt through all of his old donors and that his YouTube revenue is down significantly. He received few, if any, super chats during Tuesday's live stream from those who would pay to insult him or have him answer questions. Wallace may be facing some hard life choices in the future as the economy turns sour and the support he used to get from his YouTube channel changes. The YouTuber promised that he would live stream again Tuesday night, but did not follow through on the promise. Fans of Jose "Chili" DeCastro expressed concern for the YouTuber on Sunday as the YouTuber appeared sickly on an unscheduled live stream and would continue to express concern about the YouTuber's well-being as he missed an important legal deadline on Monday. The YouTuber addressed his fans on Sunday afternoon from a poolside scene in an unspecified location. DeCastro said he was away from home, but was newly motivated and would be returning to daily streams about his legal issues later in the week. DeCastro's appearance shocked many of his fans, as his face appeared puffy and swollen on the live stream, with one fan calling this his modern William Shattner look, as DeCastro's normal, refined facial shape was replaced by extensive puffiness. The bags under his eyes and his eyelid folds were unusually pronounced on the live stream, giving DeCastro an exaggerated squint that looked unnatural to many viewers. Their concerns were elevated as DeCastro's chin appeared swollen and red, again bringing some to speculate that he had either been hit in the face or had undergone some sort of cosmetic procedure while he had been away from YouTube. His unprepared speech left his audience confused as he repeated a case against going along with laws just because they're laws and not because they're legally justified. Illegal is illegal was his attempted rallying cry, but largely failed to resonate with his audience in his single-hour rambling. DeCastro's fans seemed more concerned on Monday, as DeCastro's proof of service in his pending lawsuit against Clark County, Nevada, was due, and the YouTuber apparently blew his deadline. The YouTuber is suing Clark County, former Justice of the Peace Ann E. Zimmerman, Judge Michelle Levitt, Officer Brendan Bork of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police, Prosecutor Agnes Botello, and others for their role in his conviction of obstruction and interference charges last year in Nevada. Since those charges were overturned on appeal by Judge Levitt, DeCastro is seeking retribution and punishment of all those involved in the case, where he was originally seeking nearly $40 million in damages from the defendants. While DeCastro's amended complaint revised the figure to compensatory damages in amounts to be proven at trial, the apparent expectation of a financial windfall from the lawsuit was a motivating factor for the YouTuber. He was so sure of his win that in promises to his fans when he was crowdsourcing to raise costs to file, DeCastro promised that for every dollar he brought in from his fans, he would throw a party for his fans in Las Vegas and spend an equal amount of his winnings from the case. Again, for something so extremely important and a slam dunk victory for the YouTuber, fans were puzzled as to why DeCastro has failed to provide service of the lawsuit to the defendants after filing the lawsuit in May of 2025. The YouTuber sought and received an extension to provide service in August, stating that he was filing in good faith and for good cause, as plaintiff has faced extraordinary medical, financial, and procedural hardships directly resulting from wrongful incarceration. Plaintiff seeks this extension to ensure that all defendants are properly served and that the interests of justice are preserved. He would describe his medical condition as a continuing brain fog and PTSD that he had previously said he was cured of over the Thanksgiving holiday of 2024, but apparently had relapsed and had recently been cured in August of 2025. DeCastro also said it was extremely hard to serve the defendants, as service in this case is procedurally complex, as it involves multiple defendants requiring different service procedures. Clark County service through designated county agents, individual judges potentially through judicial administration, law enforcement officers and prosecutors via personal service, and John Doe defendants requiring FOIA public records requests to identify. The delay in completing service was due to circumstances beyond plaintiff's control, not willful neglect or dilatory tactics, and plaintiff is now able to proceed diligently. Magistrate Judge Brenda Wexler granted DeCastro's motion on August 25th, along with his motion to file electronically. The YouTuber's deadline to file proof of service was moved to October 20th. It is unclear why the YouTuber missed Monday's deadline, but has become another worrying point for his fans, as he has also failed to hold his promised daily legal-based live streams since making that promise on Sunday. DeCastro's crowdsourcing efforts have also provided a point of concern for his fans, as his crowdfunding efforts to back the lawsuit have largely failed. The lack of interest continued on Monday, with no new donations to any of DeCastro's ongoing GoFundMe campaigns. Sean Paul Long Island Audit Reyes won the day with a $10 donation to his Help Me Fight These Unlawful Charges and Injustice Fund. Tuesday saw no interest in DeCastro's or anyone else's crowdsourcing funds, as the market put up goose eggs for the day. Wednesday was saved by a significant donation to our own ongoing expenses fund, as an anonymous donor gave $200. No other campaigns that we follow received donations for any of the days that we covered in this report. DeCastro had announced that he would be back in LA later today, with a live stream expected to follow later tonight. We need your help. Both ReallyCoolSite.org's daily newspaper and our daily newscasts are funded by your continuing donations and what we make from our YouTube AdSense revenue each month. If you'd like to contribute to help us keep the lights on, eating, feeding the cats, defending ourselves from lawsuit threats, and writing news stories to feature on both the newspaper and newscast each day, You can do so via a donation to our PayPal, Cash App, or GoFundMe accounts. If you can't afford to contribute, please watch our videos from beginning to end, like, share, subscribe, and comment. You can help by doing next to nothing, and we thank you in advance for pitching in.